education here in Singapore?
My name is Steve Jordahl, and I'm the principal of the school, St. Paul American School, Hanoi.
Yeah. And can you share with your vision and your mission when you launch St. Paul American School?
Sure. First of all, I was hired to be a part of the St. Paul American School system about 6 years ago, and I ended up in Shanghai to begin with to open up a school there, and then moved on to Beijing and was a part of St. Paul American School in Beijing, which is all high school students. And at that time, I started working with the CEO of this school to help him start develop the school and come to Hanoi once in a while to help them plan their programming. And one of the things that we often talked about is where do we want to be someday, and what's our vision together. And we started talking about the fact that we want global leaders, global citizens, people that are going to have that experience of some real creative and critical thinking, to experience that American curriculum, and to really get engaged in some higher level ways of thinking by going into what we call advanced placement kind of programming, so that they could take those exams and do well in the SATs and become university students of America, or at really good universities also around the world. And so that's one of the things that we talked about at that time. And when we were often challenged by the fact that we were growing so fast, we often had to look at, okay, do we have enough curriculum? Oh my gosh, well, now we got to even purchase more. And so it got to be where the programs continued to develop, and we continued to adopt programming from the United States. In fact, it was often that we were looking at the Common Core standards of the United States, also the Minnesota graduation standards, because St. Paul, Minnesota, where we have a high school, also was a part of this whole program. And so that's where the name St. Paul American School came from for these other schools around the globe. And we started meeting as administrators too from all the other schools, talking about how can we align our curriculum, how can we make sure that we're on the same page with the way our students are advancing through our programs, and to even market ourselves as a school. So when I came to Hanoi to help this program, we often would talk about, what can we do to get a diverse population coming to the school, to maybe handle a lot of international type students, and maybe even try to focus on the fact that it'd be nice to have 20, 25 countries, maybe 30 represented at this school. So that really helps build up the program too, to help students realize, it's not just about Vietnam or just about Korea or China or whatever. It's about really being global citizens and global leaders.
Okay, so how about the students who have been graduated from the St. Paul High School? How are they now?
Well, when we talk about the graduates of this particular program, right now they're still at the universities if they're left it last year or the year before. And there's not that many graduates yet, because we started out with small populations. Like today, you saw there was 4 graduates. And next year, I will say that it's probably going to go closer to 20, at least 18 right now. And then the year after that, probably 30 and 35. And it seems like we're growing. And last year, once again, it was 6 students that graduated. And a couple of them ended up in Hong Kong, a couple in the United States, back to Korea for one. And so, I mean, it's a group of students that have spread themselves out across the world already. And even having a couple of them come back here to visit this graduation today was really fun. That's what happens when you're small. But as we grow, obviously, it's going to be where you have more and more students, maybe putting yourself more places in the world and getting accepted into a lot of great universities also. The nice thing about coming to a school like this, let's say that you are Vietnamese and you want to experience that American curriculum, there are also opportunities for some of these students to leave early and go to a high school in the United States and finish. But even if they don't and they want to stay, they end up with that American diploma through an accredited institution, through the United States rules and Minnesota graduation standards. So it's really an advantage for students that want to go to an American university, or even Canada or other English-speaking countries like the UK, or whether it's even Singapore, Hong Kong, and South Africa or Australia or New Zealand. It doesn't matter. I mean, they really seem to have a greater chance of getting into a good university if they come through a program like ours.
As you talk about the future development of the St. Paul American School, so how will this school develop in the future?
Well, here's what's going to happen, okay? We know that right now we are going to probably cap out at this school. In other words, cap out means the total population of K to 12 will probably be that 450 to 500 students. And the reason we say that is because if you look at the spaces available and the fact that we need labs, computer labs and science labs and so on, and dry labs for engineering and technology, it ends up being where you might have space for that 450 students from K to 12. Well, if you do the math, that means about 35 students per grade level. And I think we're going to get close to that. Now, the year before I came, it was 120 students. When I started last fall, it was at 160. And then we grew quickly to 200 last year. In fact, we had this big celebration when we hit 200. And then we ended up with 220. We started the year this year with, I can't remember exact numbers, but we're at 277 today. And if you look at the next year's projections, because of all the growth that we're experiencing and from all the new students coming in and going through the admissions process, we're already looking at the idea of possibly having closer to 400 students next year. So I would say that if it doesn't happen next year, it'll happen the following year when we are capped out at that 450 students. So that's a great number for us to have.
So in short, conclusion, what do you like to tell about, to talk to the Hanoian about why they should send their time here?
Yeah, I got it. Don't worry. Wait, no. Edit. Okay, one of the things that we feel that any student would get an advantage from coming to the school is that they're going to get that international experience, number one. They're going to get the American curriculum, which we're proud of as American teachers and administrators to provide. But one of the things that we're also excited about is giving those students that opportunity to grow to that point where they can handle taking the advanced placement kind of courses. Because if you can take advanced placement courses in high school, you have a really good chance at doing very well and getting into good universities and maybe getting scholarships. I'm not going to guarantee a scholarship for people, but I can tell you there's a greater advantage if you take advanced placement courses. Having said that, we really have to even start gearing our youngest children, even in kindergarten through all of elementary, into middle school, so that we build that platform for them to be successful at the high school level. Having said that, one of the things that we're doing in the future, starting next year, is we're going to provide a kindergarten through 8th grade STEM program. Now, STEM is science, technology, engineering, and math. What that means is it's integrated subject areas. It's all project-based learning, so it's a lot of projects. And the students start to realize how technology and math and science play together in the field of engineering. And so kids will experience whether it's bridge building or robotics or whatever, and coding in the classroom for computer language. I mean, these are things that are going to be very important as we move forward, and we want students to experience that project-based learning. When they work together on projects, they learn how to be team players, they develop leadership skills, but they certainly get an understanding of why science and math, engineering, technology are all really important in this world and the fields that they possibly will go into in their future life. And in fact, if you look at what's out there right now, top 20 careers right now of what students are experiencing when they come out of college, it appears that about 15 of those 20 are really around the area of technology. So it's amazing how we're gearing ourselves toward that kind of endeavor. I mean, that's our future plan. Yes, I want to develop leaders. I want to develop team players. I want to develop global citizens and students who recognize their place in the world. But you know, they need to have that skill set that's going to allow them to do that. So science, technology, engineering, and math, STEM is a great way to go. All right.